Ascended, the new one. We're going to Supreme Gaming, the island. We're gonna log in. As soon as this thing loads, I think it's still loading. Seems kind of slow. It should give me the option in a second. Yeah, if it doesn't load, it kind of glitches and lags a little bit. There we go. Supreme Gaming, the island. It's only got 3 people on it now. Yeah, not a lot of people. There used to be a whole lot of people in this game, and then people started quitting because of all the glitches. And now it seems to be a little bit better. I haven't had too many glitches that I can complain about. Most of these things I just did to myself, you know, accidentally killing myself and stuff like that by ignoring weather. But, you know, things happen. It's hard. Anybody wants to join me? My tribe is called Free Minds. Let's try to get this situated. Now I got some videos lined up from various people as usual. And let's see. Get all that. Get this here. Now that we're on another day, I should be able to go out, maybe get some more oil, but I really want to do, I want to get metal in here. Metal and wood or whatever. Yeah, I need that. And let's see. Yeah. So for metal, I'll have to take the Enki and Heavy Betty. And we're going to see how much shit we can get. Come on, Heavy Betty. Heavy Betty. You got 2,000 stamp. Almost 10,000 weight. That's great. Okay. So we'll get him out. Alright, Crapo. It's only like 100 at level 114, so I'm like, eh. Alright, Crapo, let's go. Let's just get him out in position here so I can grab and go. Been wanting to fill that thing with metal for a while already. Let's see, do I have anything? No, I don't have any of my cold stuff on me. I need winter clothing for that. Oh, here we go. I'll put that back. Leave that there. An extra cryo doesn't hurt. Put all that there. I'm going to take my gun with me if I can find where I put it. I put the gun where I put it in here maybe. Here it is. I put the gun there. Yeah, we're good. We're good. So for this, I'm going to take this. No, that's too excitable. I'll take this. I'll take... Okay, I'll take that and that. And I'll take that. This and take this. I think that'll be okay. If not, I'll just swap out pieces as needed. Alright. So everybody's leveled up. Alright, still lagging. The game's still lagging, but what I do is I have to turn off the clouds because that takes up a little bit of processing time. Doom. Clouds are gone, so that helps. And there we go. See? We'll go get as much metal as possible. Let's see. Anything on the other side? Usually there's a bunch of shit over here. No? Okay, that's fine. Alright, I wanted to see what I had in here real quick before I start videos. Stone. I should have little bits. I should have space here if I want to put it here. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll load the metal in here and then I'll pull it down into the industrial forge to melt it and make it ingots. Let's go play one of the videos. Yay. All right. Born into a corrupt system. To me, that's just saying hello. You know, it doesn't mean shit to me that it's in a corrupt system. But anyway, things we accomplished then feel harder now. Ew. Do a video about how when you are a kid you are happy, but as you grow up you start to see the world for what it is. Yeah, that's true.
What's up, everybody? So, when we're kids,
That's a good-looking guy.
we're happy, we're clueless, we don't really know how the world works.
That's how
at least not
my hair used
entirely,
to
or
be
probably
like
not
that.
at all. And then when you get to a certain age, you start to realize of what a dump you're truly in. Then again, not everyone ever comes to that point of realizing. There's a lot of people that just don't see it when it's literally, it lies right in front of you. You know, it literally lies right in front of us, that it shouldn't take a rocket scientist or, you know, a genius to realize. It's just right there in front of you, and yet people still just don't see it. It's like, are people that stupid? That's my question. I say to myself, are people really that stupid?
Oh, yeah.
And I guess the answer to that is, hell yeah. I always sensed something wasn't right about this life, but with that being said, when I was younger, I didn't see it as much as I do now. I always had a feeling something was off, but didn't really put two and two together that closely at the time. There's things I did back then, like in school, like that I'd done, and I say to myself now, I don't know how the hell I did it. Like, I feel like if I were to rewind myself now to do that again, it would be complete hell. It was hell then, but I don't know how. I just did it. I did good in school. Everything went okay. I was stressed out. I mean, I hated getting up and going, but I don't know how. I just did it. I passed everything. There was one class I was doing terrible in, but then I changed it around, shockingly. But now I say to myself, I don't know how I did it. Like, there's things we already accomplished that I say to myself, I don't know how the hell I did it. Like, if I were to do that all over again, I feel like I'll be doomed, because now I see everything for what it is. And now when you see everything clearly, it's just hard to process, you know. Like, what I'm trying to say is, when you just see everything clearly, it's just hard to do it, if that makes any sense. It's like, there's things I did back then, and I'm sure there's things we all did back then that we actually accomplished. And then now I say to myself, if I were to rewind that time again, I'd feel like it would be more of a challenge. Because back then I wasn't as aware as I am today. Now I see how everything is all, I mean, like I said, I always seen something wasn't right, but now I see it clearly. Like, now it's 4K, 8K, whatever the most clearest K there is out there. You know, like, I just see the whole picture clearly now. And now it's like, you know, when you're awoken, when you see for what it is, it's hard living this shit, because you just can't accept it. Even though you have no choice, you gotta try. You just hate every bit of it. You just see how corrupted it is. You just see how fucked up everything is. And then you say to yourself, why am I in this mess? And why do I got to keep participating in this mess? Why do I got to go through all this bullshit? When you're awoken like that, you just see for what it is. And this is all the questioning you say to yourself. At least this is what I say to myself. You know, like, why the hell do I got to do all this? See, back then I wasn't as aware. So I was more sort of like a horse seeing straight, and didn't really put too much thought into it, and just did it, unfortunately. But now I see the whole picture clearly, like a 360. I see it all clearly, and now I just can't bear to deal with it. You know, it just feels like it's more of a challenge, if that makes any sense. At least for me, that's how I feel. This is why a lot of times when you're a kid, you're happier, or things feel easier. Things that you done back then felt like it wasn't a challenge, where now if you were to do that again, it feels like it's a challenge. You say to yourself, how the hell did I do it then? Because back then you were just so unaware of how things were. You know, you were happier because you didn't know much. You didn't know much of what a shithole you're really in. And I always sensed something wasn't right, but I wasn't fully like I am now. Just see the whole picture perfectly clear. So you just did it with no questions asked. You know, you just did what you had to do, I guess, what you were programmed to do, not thinking anything of it. And that's why life truly felt easier when you're a kid, because When you're a kid, you don't have as much worries because you don't know much about the worries, you know. When you start to grow up, you start to see all the hell that's awaiting you, you know. You got to get a job, you got to do this, you got to do that. You know, you live in a world where you got to have your own back. No one else cares for you. If you don't work, if you don't make money, you'll literally live in the streets unless you can try and find some way around it. But I mean, it's not easy. But, you know, and these are the things you don't really understand when you're young. So you're all happy and jolly and you feel like life was good, life was better, when it's not really that life was better, it's just you didn't know as much. But with that being said, things did feel a little better back then. They definitely feel better, but who knows if that means it really was better. It's just you didn't know as much. But things back then, in a way, were a tad bit better. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying life itself was so much better. Like, you know, it was better, but it doesn't mean it was ever good. Life always sucked. It's just it sucks more. Life was always a pile of trash. It's just the trash bin's full now. Back then, the trash bin was the trash bin was halfway filled. There was always garbage to life. Now it's just a whole nother level of garbage. Now the garbage is just, it's everywhere. You can't get rid of it. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's just, you can't get rid of it. You can't empty it. It's just, there's nowhere to put it. It's everywhere. It's just became so much worse. But a lot of times too is when you're a kid, you just don't see for what it is as much or at all. But the crazy thing is, there's a lot of people that never see for what it is. There's so many people that still live like there's nothing wrong with life. They have kids, and then you got people that see for what's wrong with life, and yet they still have kids. It's like, you see for what life is, let's say. You see it's a dump. You say all this, the government's corrupt, this is bad, that, you know. And what do? You have a kid. It's like, what the hell? You're understanding, you're agreeing that it's all a dump, and yet you're dumping a kid into the dump. That's the part that gets me, you know. You know, it's just crazy how people do things like that. And you got people that don't see anything wrong with it. Look at us like we're crazy, like we got 3 heads or whatever. They look at us like we got 4 heads. People got sawdust in their brains, in their heads, I should say, because there is no brain in the head. There's just sawdust. There's just cobwebs, whatever you want to call it. Everyone has a head. I have a head. The person that just walked by a few moments ago has a head. But is there a brain in the head? That's the question. Is there an actual brain in the head? Or is there just cobwebs or sawdust? You know? If even that. That's the big question. Or is there a brain in the head, but it's just not plugged in? Which is still same scenario. Some people may have a brain in the head that's just not hooked up. Maybe the neutral wire and the ground wire is not, you know, attached. Or maybe it got loose. Or maybe there was just never a brain installed in the head, period. Who knows? It goes in so many ways. But I always make sure my brain's grounded, you know, so just in case electric failure and shit like that. But all kidding aside, I don't know how people just don't see for what it is. I understand you got to do it. I understand you have to work, unfortunately. Whether you like it or not, you have to do it. But for people that just see nothing wrong with it, that's the thing that gets to me. It's like, you know, and then they're just assholes. Like, they'll say, that's life, that's life. Yeah, it's life, but it's like, you don't see anything wrong with it, though? No, man, you got to work, man. You got to hustle. Which, yeah, sadly you do. But it's like we're accepting it. We're saying, like, this is okay. This is the way it ought to be. That's the attitude of how we're making it sound. Like, this is the way it ought to be. Like, we're just okay with it. We just accept it. Like, all right, no problem. You know, it's like we act, it's like it's just a breeze in the, you know, like it's just a walk in the park. When it doesn't feel like an actual walk in the park. It feels like pins and needles. It feels like I'm stepping on needles. Nails, you name it. Like, people make things seem so easy when it truly doesn't, and at least to me, it doesn't feel easy. You get some people that just do it no problem. And that's the thing. When you're awoken, when you just see for what it all is, that's what's the struggle. Because when you see for what it is, you just see how tormenting it all is. At least that's how I feel in my perspective. It just feels hard. You know? It's like you got to be blind to be successful in today's life. It's like you got to be blind to just do what you got to do, no questions asked. Just like when we were kids, we felt like things were easier because we didn't know much. We got things done better because we didn't really know. We just did it. Now we see for what it all is, and it's just hard to accept what it is. Unfortunately, we have no choice, but it's hard. And this is what causes anxiety, mental, you know, all type of shit. No motivation, just depression, I guess you could say. But it's life itself. It's us seeing the truth about life that's making us feel this way. Because we actually have a brain that we could see the whole picture clearly. You know? It's not that there's really anything wrong with us. It's just we see for what it is. Our brains are connected. Our brains are linked. While other people's brains aren't even connected. And that's why it's the way it is, unfortunately. It's like sometimes I say to myself, is it better to just be blind? Because I feel like when you're blind, I mean actual blind, like can't see, but you get what I'm trying to say, like blind from seeing the harsh reality, that type of blind. I wonder if it's like easier to just get things done. I feel like in a way it could just be easier to get things done in life. Because when you see for what it is, like I admit I do, I feel like it's just a bigger struggle. That's just my opinion, you know. I mean, I am glad to be awoken, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's like, why? Now I say to myself, like, why am I trapped in all this? But if I was like stupid and, you know, like the rest of the individuals, I wouldn't know to feel that certain way because just see straight. No questions asked, just participate. Yes, I obey. Don't know why I obey, but I just obey. You know, that type of way. That's the thing. I'm not stupid in that way. I see for what it is, and I can't unsee it. I just can't. It's like some people see an image of something that they can't unsee, no matter what. They can try and forget about it, but no matter what, it's still lodged in their head. Or locked in their head, however you want to say it. Well, it's like the same scenario with being awoken. You just see it clearly that you just can't unsee the image. Right? And as, of course, the days pass by, you just see it even more and more clearer because you could just see. You could just see. It's so obvious. It's just so obvious. But the thing that gets me is we should all be seeing it. We should all be seeing it clearly. Like, how are people this stupid? That's my big question. How are people so fucking stupid? You know? A lot of people will say, well, you know, we gotta work, you know, and yeah, I'm not saying, you know, unfortunately, yeah, we have no choice, sadly. But people seeing nothing wrong with it. People seeing it as like a good thing, or some people thinking it's healthy to do this. When really, you're just wasting away. That's how I look at it, is you're just wasting away at a job all day. Workaholic, sheepaholic. That's what, you know, that's all we are. We spend more time working than we spend time having fun. You know, they say there's a time for fun, there's a time for fun or play or whatever, than time for work. Well, it feels like there's barely any ever time for fun. It's all just work, work, work. Doing things you don't want to do. And having little or pretty much no time to do things you truly want to do. Sad. It's like a perfect example when you were in school, when you were in like elementary school, when you're like maybe in 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 4th grade, or whatever the hell. I don't know, they used to call this stupid shit called free time. Yeah, free time. Love that, right? When are you free? But anyway, where you do all your work or whatever the hell, and if you finish all your work on time or whatever, you get a little bit of free time. You used to go on the computers, maybe play games on the computers or whatever the hell. But it feels like once you get that free time, right when you're starting to get on it, the teachers are already saying, all right, free time's over, back to work, or, you know, the day's over or whatever the hell, which is actually good. I don't mind the day part being over. But it feels like the fun just started and here it is already ending. But the work feels like it just keeps going and going and going. So that's like another perfect example is all you're doing in your life is just working more than you're having fun. More than actually enjoying your life. You're here just working away your life instead of being here to have fun in your life. You barely ever have time to have fun in your life. It's like, what's the point? Why can't I just enjoy and be happy? Why do I gotta be miserable more than I be happy? Why do I gotta do something I can't stand doing just to survive? Just to say, hey, I'm surviving. I want to survive and be happy, not survive just to say, yeah, I'm surviving. What the hell joy and you know, what's the point of that? I don't see a point, honestly. It's just like, what the hell? It's a big question mark to me.
Damn, that's a 194.
We just spend most of our days doing things we can't stand. And I say this all the time, and it's something I'm always going to keep saying. It's what the channel's mainly about. To talk about these type of things. We do things we don't want to do, but we have no choice. We're fucked either way. You're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. It's to the point where you don't know whether to do it or don't do it. But either way, you're just darned either way. So it's like, you don't know. You just don't know. But, yeah, you know. That's why a lot of times when you're a kid, it just feels like things are easier, you know. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't have as much worries. But at the same time, you do kind of have worries because you got to worry about passing your classes. If not, you're going to hear your parents yell at you. You got a bad report card. You know, it's like the truth is we were never at ease. You know, we were never at ease. But when you're a kid, I guess you just don't realize it as much. When you're a kid, you say to yourself, man, it must be fun being an adult. You know, like I can't wait to be an adult. And then now when you're an adult, you say to yourself, I wish I was a kid again. Me, I don't wish for either. I just wish for non-existence again. That's the honest, true bliss. Because when you're a kid, you want to be an adult. And now here we are as adults wishing to be kids again, where it felt simpler. But the best thing of all is non-existence, when you didn't exist, period. Because that's when you didn't have to deal with anything. Absolute nothing. Nothing mattered. Nothing mattered. There was no emotion, there was no stress, there was no anything. You didn't exist, you were absolute nothing. That's the true thing I at least wish I can go back to. You know? Not to sound dark or emo or depressed or whatever the hell, but that's just how I feel. Life was always a dump. The fire's always been burning since the world's been turning. There's a song out of that. If I'm saying correctly. If not, I do apologize, but you know, there was always chaos in the world. It's just when we're young, we don't see it. We don't realize it as much. But the chaos definitely gotten worse. Like the fire definitely is igniting more than it ever has. But with that being said, there was always on fire. Life was always on fire. In other words, life always sucked. It's just a whole nother level today. So in a way, yeah, it's because you're young, you don't know as much, and maybe it was a little less on fire then, but still on fire. It still sucked. You always had to work. You always had to, you know, make money. That was always a life thing. It's just at least things were a lot cheaper back then. Still sucked, but at least things were more affordable at the time. Now it just feels like nothing's affordable. Everything's just skyrocketing high. And it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Do I hope to be wrong? Of course, but of course I'm most likely not wrong. But, you know, when I want to be wrong, I'm right. When I want to be right, I'm wrong. That's how it always goes. Life is always vice versa. It's like the total opposite. When you want something good to happen to your life, something bad happens. You know, life can never work the right way. Because life isn't right. Life isn't fair. Life would never be fair. If life was fair, we would all be happy. We would all be at peace. We would all be enjoying. Not everyone could say that they have a good life. There are people that could say that, and there are other people that, you know, can't say that. And then you get people that say they always have it, you know, count your lucky stars. There's other people that have it way worse than you, and that's true. But you're suffering, there could be somebody out there that has it even worse, and that's true. And that's what makes life not fair. Because there's people enjoying, which is how we should all be, while you got other people suffering. And that's the part that sucks. That's the part that's not fair. Why does this person got to be happy and that person's got to be unhappy? Why can't we all just have that beautiful feeling? Now, if that was the case, life would be fair. But of course, that's not the case, so that's why life isn't fair. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up for now. Thank you for that video request. If you guys got any more, please leave them down below, and at some point in time I'll try to get to them. You know, like I always say, I don't go in order. I just find one and I say, screw it, I'll talk about this one today, you know, or or sometimes I just make up my own rants, you know, when something comes into my mind, you know, but sometimes I switch it up. But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go for now. Love you all, man. Try to hang in there as best as possible. I always say this towards the end of the video because I just truly mean it, man. I wish everyone here the very best. We're all in this together, you know. That's how I look at it, as we're all in this together. I'm trying to survive. I hope we can all try and do the same, you know. We're in this together. Fist pump, everyone, you know. But all right, signing off for now, guys. Peace out.
Yeah, I had to step away for a second to go finish up some cat stuff. I was going to check to see if I got a good raptor. Good thing about raptors is they're pretty much anywhere. Not level 40s. Looks like they're all level 40s. These are weak ones. You never know. You always take the time to check. I was thinking of consolidating and breeding raptors. They're just very common. My favorite, and I've said this before about I love tech raptors. I love the way they look, but I don't see where they brought them into this game yet. I don't think they're going to do tech, but I'm not sure. That could change for all I know. Anyway, let's get some of this meat off of here. I'll put a little bit back. Let's drop the berries. Except those berries. Clear up the weight a little bit. Don't need that. Don't need those. I'll save that for later. If I can put it there like that. Don't need this. Don't need that. Oops. Don't need this. There we go. I could put this meat here, and you know, if it rots, it rots. You know, I'm not going to die over it. Okay, that was a good video. As usual, he's very focused on things that used to be because they asked him to make the video. But the thing is, when you're a kid, you're really innocent and you really believe everything you're told and you really trust. When you're living in an environment based on trust, mutual trust, things seem easier. And when you're a kid, they do handle you with kid gloves. You know, they're nicer to you. They're easier with you, unless you're a product of abuse like I was. I was abused by my parents. Some parents are really good parents and they love their children. They're not assholes. My mom just saw me as a means of personal entertainment. You know, she didn't give a shit. And the thing is, you know, in the end, mom was mom. She came through for me, but you know, she made my life hell for no reason other than to get off on it, you know. So I think that life doesn't get harder. I think you refuse to live up to life. In other words, if the standards go up, and I don't know if you noticed, but through the course of time, standards do go up. And people that just used to use a typewriter and they didn't want to learn computers, they got left behind. They didn't want to learn how to do a computer. I still get calls from elders who don't want to learn how to use an app, who don't want to learn how to use a phone, a cell phone. They don't want to do anything having to do with computers. And they're the same people that get hacked. But they'll use their debit card everywhere. Leave that debit card imprint everywhere, which is dangerous. Now, I think that people just, they want to go back to the easier time in their mind, and it's all in their mind. And they refuse to raise themselves up to the standards. You have to raise yourself up. Nobody's going to do it for you. He's right. Nobody cares, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of rejection. But that's when you're supposed to focus on loving yourself more, taking care of yourself. That's why I told you I take care of my cats. I take care of my body, my diabetes. I pay the bills, the apartment, and the car. I make sure the car works. You know what I mean? I spent almost a week fixing the car for some dumb little thing that cost me like, what was it, $12, I think? Something like that. It was just a little stupid part. And it didn't fit. I still had to retrofit it. I had to shave it down and make it fit in the hole. It wouldn't fit, you know? But I saved that money. Instead of paying $200-300, I paid just that $12, and that was it, you know? And now I'm rocking and rolling again. Baby's working. So ultimately, I think life gives you a series of challenges, and when the challenge is too much, you kind of whine and bitch about it, and you think, damn, it used to be so easy. Well, you didn't have that level of challenge, and you didn't have that level of intricacy that you do when you're an adult. When you're a kid, everything's easy. You know, making a macaroni picture and making $1 million are two totally different dynamics. It's completely different, but you're supposed to start out with the macaroni picture and then learn to make the $1 million. You see? And it takes people time. It varies. The fact that people suck and society sucks and all that is irrelevant in terms of your personal development and what you choose to do. Some people are at a disadvantage, but they don't get out of that disadvantage. I don't cry about my diabetes. I deal with it. I take the medication. I watch what I eat. I try not to overexert myself in that regard. I'm supposed to be losing weight and all this, but I got too many other issues to deal with. So I have to go down the list and deal with those issues. And it will take time. It could take months for me to get to a place where I can do serious exercises. And on top of that, because of my age, I have to take it real easy. In other words, I have to do calisthenics and maybe some dumbbells. And that's it for a very long time until I get really fit. And even then, because of the hernia, I have to be careful with anything on my abdomen. I don't want to get that hernia worse. It's bad enough the way it is. So that's why I try not to lift too many heavy things nowadays. So I have to be careful. Anyway, I mean, it's a youthful perspective, but he has to shake out of that and live up to the challenge. Life is about living, not whining. And the thing is, there's a lot of people that listen to a guy like this, and they'll think, see, it's not right. It's not right. But the truth is, it was never right. It was never right. You know, you think times are tough now. At least in this day and age, you can actually go ahead and find a convenience store and get something to eat for cheap. You know, there's a lot of cheap food in convenience stores. A lot of cheap food. So, you know, in the old days, they didn't have convenience stores. They didn't have a shop on every corner. They didn't have vehicles that could take you across town in 20 minutes, 30 minutes or less. They didn't have highways. You know, everybody was living on a farm, or they were in the city, basically a slave to some rich person that had a very basic business. And they wouldn't pay you shit, and they wouldn't give you shit. You had to survive and scrape. You know, you had to share food with your buddies because your buddies were looking out for you, and you look out for your buddies, so people were closer then. Nowadays, everybody's independent, and they don't have that kind of relationship going down. It's different. Very different. But I appreciate it. I'm thankful for what I have, and I humble myself so that God doesn't have to humble me. I humble myself, and I'm thankful for that. And people may not believe in that, but there's something about having a humble heart and thankfulness in your heart that does pave the way to good things. It really does. It's like having true faith, you know. And, yeah, enough of that. We'll move on. All right. That was born into a corrupt system. Things we accomplish then feel harder now. I say it's the challenge and complexity, you know. All right. Red Leg Piper. I quit my warehouse job of 12 years. Hard work gets you nowhere. Well, yeah, hard work, sometimes even smart work, to get you nowhere, because sometimes people think they're smart. And I know I thought I was really smart when I was younger, when I was that kid's age. I thought I knew it all. I thought it was obvious. I thought it was wrong. The politics of life, the politics out there is dangerous, man. They're just looking for a witch to burn, something to feed the system. They want to feed the system another witch to burn. They're just crazy. Anyway, let's see what this dude has to say.
So the quick answer as to how I left my warehouse distribution center job is, for the last couple years before I put my 2 weeks in, I planned my escape behind the scenes really quietly without anybody knowing. I got my home right, my finances right, got all my debt paid off, stacked a lot of money, and had something on the side prepared before I put my 2 weeks in. And nobody knew. I didn't tell a single soul until HR 2 weeks before I quit. I was at my warehouse distribution center job for almost 12 years. Started in 2010. And well, at that time, that was a pretty good job. It was a good work environment, even though I was still loading trailers. What I was doing was I was in shipping department my entire 12 years. Loading trailers full of products to be sent out to stores. Well, about year 6 into it, I ended up staying in shipping, but I put in a driving position to get on a forklift in a reach trailer, or reach truck. So my last 6 remaining years with the company, I was a forklift operator in shipping department. Again, you know, it was okay about year 6, but I started to see a heavy decline when management started changing, when HR started changing, and the company got bought out by another company. Now, the job was still secured, more or less, regardless. This company has been around since the early 1900s, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon. However, I quickly realized that the new management didn't give a shit about the team members and didn't give a shit about, you know, anything about kissing ass to corporate, which, I mean, that's should be relatively common sense about any job, right? But it's kind of, you know, not easy to wrap your head around when this job you've had for so long was a good job, right? It was a good job. It's not like I was going into a shitty job to begin with, where it was a toxic work environment. For half my time there, it was a good job. And then slowly but surely, management crept in and started allowing really bad team members to get away with a bunch of shit. Now, I'm all for hard work. I'm all for downtime as well. You know, when you get your job done and you got a little bit of downtime, I'm cool with that. You know, I used to do the same thing. But the job always had to get done. And the unfortunate thing about it is that the new management that crept into this warehouse, into this distribution center, was so toxic that they would allow the lazy people to sit around on pallets, go for half-hour bathroom breaks, take longer regular breaks, just disappear off the floor, go talk to random girls, and a lot of the management would, you know, flirt with the team members. You know, they formed their own little clique, and I saw that coming a mile away, and I didn't like it. In fact, they wanted me, among a couple other hard-working individuals in the department, to take on the bulk of the work. And for a while there, I was stupid, and I did. And I found real quick that I'm doing more work for the same amount of pay. I'm doing their work while they're slacking off and doing nothing, while I'm getting paid the same amount of pay. No promotion, no extra money, no this or that. The company started slowly going downhill. No incentives to come into work. No incentives for a lot of things. And I'm probably preaching to the choir with probably 99% of jobs out there. And hold on, I'm not just bitching, okay? I'm going somewhere with this. About how I got out of it and why I think you should too. The company, the management got so bad from top down that my wife actually worked there too for almost 20 years. She got me in. She worked there for 20 years. I was there for 12. She was there for 20. And she even saw it because she put in to be a manager. Now, like I said, she doesn't have any, no bad attendance, no write-ups, no nothing. Squeaky clean, history with the company for 20 years. Yeah, I had squeaky clean attendance across the board, and no strikes on me, no write-ups or nothing. I was a hard worker, I thought, and she was a hard worker. We got stuff done. And, and it's just unfortunate that the management, even though my wife wanted to become a manager at one point, they were promoting the wrong people. Yeah. It was the women that was going around sleeping around with the other managers and that were wearing hoochie shit.
Hoochies.
Were getting promoted.
Hoochie mamas.
And my wife, obviously, ain't like that.
Hoochie cookies. Hoochie mamas.
And so she put in for manager 3 fucking times. 3 fucking times she put in for manager. And they denied her every fucking time. Meanwhile, they're promoting women that are sleeping around, women that are flirting with other managers, wearing hoochie shit, running equipment off the dock and doing all these just tons of shit that they don't even know what the fuck they're doing. But somebody who dedicated 20 fucking years to your company with a squeaky clean record, who's been in all the other departments, every other fucking department. She knew the work of every other fucking department. You turned her down 3 fucking times. And you hire the hookers of the company. Or you promote the hookers of the company.
The sleuths.
What a slap in the
world.
fucking face, man.
Oh my God, not the sleuths.
What a slap in the fucking face. Not only that, but it was just, I got tired of being used. I got so tired of being used for what? For no incentive whatsoever other than to work more harder, catch other people's red lights. It was like red light fucking district dumping that motherfucker. For some of y'all who don't know what red light means, is that the conveyor belts have so much product on them that it's getting backed up. That I ended up having to go up to these red lights because other lazy motherfuckers weren't doing their job, and it's like the lane exploded and fucking boxes are falling off the fucking line and shit. And I'm trying to go in there and fix their shit, taking on the responsibility of the managers and some of their work to get their workload to some of their workload off their back, so their managers and their IOs aren't jumping down their back. In the meantime, half those motherfuckers are standing at their computer, ain't doing shit. Doing shit.
That's your job. That's your job.
Walking around, not helping.
Yeah. They do shit.
Flirting around with other team members.
Yeah, a bunch of crap.
Sitting in their fucking office.
Yeah.
Making themselves look busy.
A job is like a curse in a way.
Like I said, it's not
necessary.
like here. I mean, the next level up would have been, because you got team members, and that's it. Team members, managers, and above them were IOs, inbound, outbound, management, and then maintenance. And then obviously you got corporate and shit like that. But if you're just a bottom of the barrel team member, y'all get paid the fucking same. It don't matter if you've been there 2 years or 20 years. Y'all's getting paid the same. And I dedicated 12 fucking years to this company, man. 12 fucking years. My wife put in 20 fucking years. For what? For fucking what? These companies don't give a shit. You could die tomorrow and they'll have a moment of silence over their PA if you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you were on their side, on their good side, no matter how long you were there, you'll get maybe a minute of fucking silence and then they replace you the same day.
Yeah.
There's no incentive to work at these warehouse jobs anymore. And it's not just because of the lazy people that they're bringing in. And this is true. I've seen it across the board at this job, at this warehouse for 12 years. And my wife's seen it for 20 years. They bring in the lazy people, and all they do is sit around on their phones, talking, bullshitting around, not getting the job done. And this isn't just Gen Z. This is fucking millennials, Gen Xers, baby boomers. They're all fucking not working.
Lazy.
None of them are fucking working.
Just lazy, good for nothing. That's
and
why.
you got maybe 10%. 10% of the workforce in there is doing 90% of the fucking work for the same fucking pay. I took on a lot of the roles of management, doing startup meetings and shit. Well, that was my own fault. But like I said, my mind wasn't right because it was a good job for the first few years. It was worth going into back in 2010. And then shit just changed with management. And it starts at the top. People want to say, management want to say, well, if we could only get good workers in, that's like 50% of the freaking problem, man. Half the problem, if not more the problem, is them, the management. They're the reason why people don't want to work for them. Because they don't hold others accountable, and they sure as hell don't hold that same standard and hold themselves accountable. They don't want to get in there and help you out. I'm not saying all of them. There was a few managers in that company over the 12 years. I can count on probably one or two hands out of hundreds, though. 10% were worth a damn. And those 10% of those managers that were worth a damn were overworked themselves, and their hands were tied. And there was shit they couldn't do. But the other 90%, the vast majority of management in these warehouse jobs, they're fucking worthless, man. They're pulling them off the street with a degree instead of hiring within with people who have experience and know the building, know the system, know the departments. And I'm not just jaded because my wife didn't get it 3 fucking times. Of course I am a little bit. Fuck them. You know who you are if you're watching. But it's just hire within, promote within, man. Instead of pulling people who have a degree. Your degree ain't shit, man. Just because you have a degree don't mean you know how to fucking do operations in a building. There's team members that know how to do operations more than some of these fucking managers. It's ridiculous. It's not worth it anymore. It's not worth going into these warehouse distribution jobs where you're treated like dog shit.
I actually like working in the warehouse.
You might be the 1% that's working hard. The other 90% are dog shit too. They don't want to fucking work. They want to sit around. They want to do the least amount of work as possible and get paid the most as possible.
But thing is,
or as long as possible.
It's fair if everybody's lazy.
That's why you need to not quit. I'm not saying to quit. Don't quit because right now you need a job. I'm saying use your warehouse job as a stepping stool to quiet quit. To get yourself in a place to where you can walk out and work at any job you want, like I did. And be happy doing a job you enjoy, even if it's less money, to where at any point in time, you can say, you know what, I don't like this job. I don't need you. You might need me, but I don't need you. Because I've been retired for the last 2 years, and I made a video about how I'm trying to search for purpose. Like I had financially everything in order. I had all my ducks in order to quit this job of 12 years. And the reason why I didn't quit right away is because I have kids. I needed to make sure that I had a plan in place. And it took me 5 years of the 12 years to plan to get out from my escape. And I'm here to tell you, you can do the same thing. Plan your escape. Don't quit. Plan your escape. Because these people, these warehouse jobs, these management, they don't give a shit. They don't care. And it's not just the management, it is people that don't want to work, man. It is people. And they sit there quietly laughing at you while you're hustling like a fucking rabbit all over the dock floor trying to get the shit done in time just so you can go home and get paid the same amount of fucking money that these lazy motherfuckers are getting paid. And management is to blame. Who the fuck wants to work like that? Who wants to work like that?
Desperate people. Desperate.
And on top of who wants to work like that, who the fuck wants to be in management over that? Shit has to change, man.
That's always been that way. Always been that way.
It's crazy. These companies, the management does not care. For you, for me, for anyone. They're about the dollar. And I get it. I mean, you know, I get it. Corporate America, right? Corporatism. I get it. I'm for it too. But at the same time, grab your fucking balls, managers. Grab your fucking balls, man. Start HR. Grab your fucking balls. Start paying attention to the ones that are depressed and angry. Because the ones that are depressed and angry are most likely the ones that give a shit about your company. The ones that are just laughing it off and chit-chatting and bullshit, they don't give a fuck about your company. They don't give a fuck about work. It's the ones that become bitter in the job that you need to be paying attention to. And it's crazy because that's what they want. That's what these companies want, is for you to become bitter. So you walk out, so you quit. They don't want somebody who's been there 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah,
they want you out.
That liability. Potential threat to ask for more money, you know. That's why
I'm in my 40s
now.
Money. And I'm starting to realize late that you should never count on one single job. Never count on one single job for your finances, for any kind of security, because there's no such thing as job security. Always be upping your skills. Always be maybe even looking into a trade. Looking into bettering yourself. And planning your escape if you work in some kind of dead-end job, warehouse job, factory. They're all the same. You know, fucking everybody wants a job with a pension. Well, pensions are long dead and gone almost, and everything's just a 401k now.
Those are going to go down the toilet too, from what I heard.
You know, union jobs aren't what they fucking used to be either.
Unions,
you know, the union reps don't give a shit about you. They just keep the shitty employees. That's all they care about. Most unions, anyways. I'm not going to speak for all, but most unions don't give a shit anymore. I want you, if you enjoy your job and you love your job and you're satisfied in warehouse distribution work, typical warehouse job, more power to you. If you're happy, you're happy.
Yeah.
But if you're like me and you got sick and tired of being sick and tired of that warehouse job, not so much because of the job itself, but because of the work environment, the toxic work environment and the shitty management, plan your escape. Plan to quiet quit. Don't quit. Use it. Use that job as a stepping stone financially to get yourself out. Don't be like me, man, and invest 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years into a company that don't give a shit about you. And that only promote the shitty workers, the hookers of the company.
The sleuths.
Makes no fucking sense.
The sleuths.
Makes no sense, man. Shit makes no sense.
Yeah. Life's unfair, and this is one of the unfair things of life.
I'm definitely not saying to walk out on your responsibilities.
Yep.
I'm not saying any of that. Do the right thing. Stick it out. Do what you have to do to provide for yourself, provide for your family, pay your bills, stack some bread. Do what you have to do. Don't quit. I'm not saying to quit. I'm saying plan for your quiet quit. I'll make another video on how to do
advice. That. You know how you quiet quit? You don't tell nobody.
Warehouse work. At least my experience anyways with it of 12 years, maybe it was just the company that I was with, but I would assume the vast majority are the same. We just want good management, man. Because good management, real good management makes for a good work environment. And that in itself produces good employees and team members. Nobody wants to wake up and go to a toxic job. It's soul crunching, man. It's soul crushing. And yeah, I'm bitter. Of course I'm fucking bitter, man. And now I'm just trying to find purpose now that I've been out for 2 years and unemployed. Thinking about going back to some kind of employment to find some kind of purpose. Because it's good to have purpose. The only difference is I'm going to a job because I want to be there. Not because I have to be there. Because I got my shit together over the course of 5 years. In that work environment that I didn't want to stay into, but I did because I knew I had to. And I know you can do the same thing if you put your mind to it. And you get discipline, and you find discipline. You can get to a place to where you can be somewhere because you want to be, not because you have to be. More and more people are quiet quitting their jobs. Their warehouse jobs, their factory jobs. Because they're seeing that it may pay okay, but the work environment is just toxic. And the management makes it that way. Promoting fucking hookers in the company. Bringing on people that have no idea what the fuck they're doing, how to run departments, how to do any kind of processing, HR, anything. It's always externally they're hiring instead of within. What a fucking shame. What a fucking shame.
Yeah. It is. It's a shame. People in the company, if this guy was a hard worker like I thought, then he's one of the first people they laugh at. Okay? I've seen this. I've experienced it. I went out, I did the same thing he did, busted my ass on the job thinking, oh man, they're going to appreciate me. They don't have the capacity to appreciate a goddamn thing that you have to say or do. You are a resource, you're a butt in a seat, and that is the truth of your existence while in a company. Okay? There's nothing else, just your butt in a seat. That's why you shouldn't feel so bad if you do get screwed like the way he's describing, because that's the way they are. They're all the same. And that's something that people don't want to acknowledge or just simply accept the fact that they're like that. They're all like that. Not some, all of them are the same. It's all nepotism. It's all a form of corruption or another. I've never seen or experienced anything else but that in the world. That's the world. You know? That is the world. And fact is, after a while, you're like, you know what, fuck this. And that's why nowadays I look for opportunities. Technically, I do have the opportunity I needed, but I'm not ready to act just yet. But when I do, I'm going to be a very happy man. And a lot of the problems in my life, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, irresponsible, incompetent parents who would not be responsible for my future. They wouldn't help me. Their idea of helping me was, well, she made sure I graduated college, so she made sure I fell into the fucking debt. She didn't warn me. She didn't teach me. She didn't do shit. Because the truth is, she's kind of like those people that don't want to do anything. They're just lazy as fuck. And, there's some things about people that you can't change. And the fact is, people are lazy and good for nothing. That's why I'm in trouble. I've been in trouble. I'm not in trouble, but I'm like, if people knew the truth about my life, they'd be like, damn, how are you surviving? How are you making it? They wouldn't, oh, look at that. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't have a gun good enough to tame that thing. I don't have a gun good enough. I don't have anything that will work to tame it. So that's why I just leave it there and don't fuck with it. That bird, that's a good bird. Somebody will tame it if it doesn't despawn. Okay, so we did good there. Now, I do need more cementing pastes, and I think I'm going to probably go out on the beach and kill some shit. There's Tigger. Hey, Tigger. Let me remove that so that you're not staring at me weird. And what I need also, besides chitin, is I need more oil so I can make more gas. Going short without gas is not good. I don't need a lot of poly. I probably have poly left over from the other day. Yeah, I still got poly here left over if I want to do more shit. But what I really needed was more metal. But the metal's coming along. I could probably make another one of these storage units. These are always good to have. But I need more CP. I'm low on CP. So chitin is actually a priority. So we'll go out and see if we can do that. What did I put in here? See, I want to use up as much poly as I can, but I can't be in a hurry. But I do need more CP. Kill a bunch of bugs. Okay. Alright. Tigger's really good at getting the CP. Alright, we're going to give you another weight. We're going to give you 2 more melee. There we go. Alright. So we're at an hour, so I'm going to stop the video here and I'll probably continue right off. Alright? Thanks for watching. Yeah, companies are... I feel bad for the guy. Because I did the same thing and I realized you have to slow down, pace yourself with the company. Do not try to be a firecracker and go off and, you know what I mean, do all these fantastic things at once. You keep doing that and they're just going to see you as a fool that's going to be used. And that's what this guy is. That's why he really feels bad. Because they basically took advantage of him. They abused him the way they do in companies and used him into the ground. And the more honest and responsible you are, the more work they'll give you, but they don't give you compensation. I've been working in my company 6 years, and I don't even remember the last time I got a raise, and I think it was just a few cents. It wasn't anything. And now the economies, their prices have gone up, but my wage hasn't gone up. The company doesn't care if I can't survive. They only care if I can't pay the rent. And I haven't had a real vacation in my whole life. I'm 52. I don't know what a 2-week vacation is. To me, those 2 weeks, paid 2 weeks, is for going to the doctor, getting the car fixed, an emergency, something that requires that I not work, that's what I use the PTO for, to pay time off. I don't use it for a vacation. I can't afford a vacation anyway. That's just the way it is. But anyway, yeah, don't get used by companies. Find ways to use them. That's why I'm going into stock trading and I'm taking advantage of that system. But anyway, thanks for watching. Ciao, ciao.